Bam, what's up? We are back on the CEO Pulse podcast where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Another episode of the Mindset Mondays. Man, I'm loving this. I am loving this.
Yeah, good times.
And of course, with my co-host, Justin Thorstad. I don't think I'd use that sound.
No, you're getting
That's
better
the
too.
brand new
I like
spanking
it. Thank
sound
you.
on the soundboard.
Yeah, let's improve.
And-
I like that one. Let's
Yeah.
improve upon that one.
But don't
Elevate it.
I don't know. Mindset.
Roll with it, man. Yeah, whatever comes out,
Yeah,
man.
I mean, I'm telling you.
There's no script.
You get creative.
Yeah.
Do you, bro.
That's right.
All right. So that's what mindset is all about, right? Just
Totally.
understanding the you within. Wow, that got deep real fast.
Trusting that inner you. Yeah, the one in
Yeah.
there. The
So
witness.
let's talk about growth. Okay, we've addressed the issues of fear and understanding, transitions and that sort of thing. But what about growth? Essential growth, and actually more specifically, growing through the stages of life, growing through the stages of evolution. This is another really good topic, and I think you make a really good point bringing this up because it can be confusing, right?
Yeah.
When you're in any given state of mind, a lot of times we think of permanence. We think of if we're feeling shitty, we think that it's gonna be shitty all the time,
Yeah.
and it's hard to see the positivity in the world because we're feeling shitty. Now, when we're flying high, you think that's gonna be permanence, but that's the thing. It's a fallacy. There's no permanence in the state of beingness.
Totally.
So let's dive into that. Growing through the seasons of life or of growth, per se.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, the premise of this topic is really understanding that just as with the laws of nature, you've got 4 seasons, yeah? Winter, spring, summer, fall. And every season in nature is a season for a reason, right? Winter's a time for death, decay, yeah? Which is necessary for spring to have a rebirth. And then from that rebirth, then you reap the harvest in the summertime, and then fall comes and it's time to prepare for winter. Like every season has an integral value, an inherent value in it. Yeah, it's necessary for things to regenerate, for new things to occur. And so I think the problem with a lot of entrepreneurs that lack the self-awareness that I did too many years ago is that we go through seasons. We go through seasons in our beingness, in our mindset, in our businesses, in the markets, all of these factors, right? And to realize that it's okay, because I'll just speak from I noticed myself before I got into personal development and started to learn a lot about our minds and consciousness and all of these different things, is that, like, I'll give you an example. Like the last 3 months I've been in my own little winter, where I've been off of my morning practice, not consistent on it, not being with it in a certain way like I usually am, which is super consistent. It elevates me, and the rest of my life just flourishes, and opportunities come to me and unfold effortlessly. And I've been off that, more alcohol, more shitty foods, lowering my vibration, and then just like, business starts to wane a little bit. And naturally, there's this urge to beat yourself up. Like, oh man, I suck. I should be doing this. I should be doing that, but I'm tired. I don't have any energy. And then there's beat up from that. Like, what's wrong with me? Maybe I need to go to the doctor. All this bullshit. And it's like, no. Let me just take a step back and witness myself and witness what's going on with me right now. This is a winter season. And no, nothing's permanent, right? So if you look at, on average, the laws of nature, how long does the season last? Well, there's 4 seasons in a year. Break it down into a quarter, 90 days, yes? And so when I catch myself in that beat up mode and my consciousness, my level of vibration has been dropping, that's my cue. Man, this is a winter season. And can I just be okay with that? Can I have some grace with myself to allow me to go through this season?
Yeah.
Because that beat up just insinuates that, really just signifies that season is going to last a little longer. Because if I'm in resistance to my winter season, now I'm paying all my attention to the fact that I'm not getting what I want. And if I'm not getting what I want, I can start obsessing about what's wrong and why it's not right. And therefore, I'm feeding it my attention. I'm feeding it my consciousness, all my energy. And that whatever I place my energy, attention, and focus on, it's going to grow, expand, and multiply, right? So that's why what you resist persists. Yeah. That what you run from, you run into, because that's the object of your consciousness. And
and it also creates that platform for permanence. I mean, it feels like it's going to be there forever because you're digging that hole and it's getting deeper and deeper and deeper, right?
It's like drop the shovel, man. Yeah, but it's been so great because when I just surrendered to, meaning just accepted the fact that I'm in a winter, here's what's also another thing to remember that makes that impermanence more conscious. You become aware of it, and you can just take a breath and relax a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's this: winter never follows winter. There's always spring coming. Yeah? So I'll give you an example. In my winter over the last 90 days, there's been a couple businesses that have come as opportunities to me, and energetically, like emotionally, my mindset, I just wasn't there to really take full advantage of it and say yes and move forward into action because I knew that I wouldn't because of the state that I'm in. And so I just kept that as like a business on the back burner. Like when I'm ready, I'll take full advantage of that. I'll jump all in because I'm either all in or all out, right? Like I'm not going to half-ass something. Just be all ass in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this last week, that energy was coming to a close and I could feel the springtime coming. And then I got a call from one of those business opportunities that we were just talking about earlier. And I was like, yeah, you know what? This feels like it's the time. Everything happens in its own appointed hour. Like the divine timing, there's something to be said about that. And so if you can notice your energy, the energy of the season you're in, and work with yourself, like then the call came in from that new business. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Energetically, I feel like I'm opening up to that. I'm coming out of my winter. It's time for spring, which means what? Plant some seeds, till the soil, get everything ready to just go all in and start planting those seeds so you can bear the fruit later. And sure as shit, so the phone call came in, flew out to California, like the business is ready to rock and roll. It's all plug and play. It's a business in a box and already leads and sources of revenue coming in for it.
Yeah.
And this just happened Thursday and today's Monday.
Amazing, man. It's and you're completely right. I think understanding. I mean, and it's huge. What you're saying about the seasons. I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? Winter never follows winter. It's just if you're in there, you're in there. You're gonna get out, out of that eventually, right? It's not permanent. But recognizing the switch, the change in seasons. This is something that's downing like right now on me. It's interesting, but right now transitioning towards the end of the month, and it's the end of May. We're coming in just whole new month and whatnot. Over the last say couple of weeks, I wrapped my head around the idea of doing something different, taking a pivot in my business.
Okay.
And it started. I felt like I was ready. Even earlier, I was talking about digital media and strategies and stuff like that, and my previous season has been of planting. If you go back to my track record, like for the last solid year, it's putting out a content. It's creating that brand and whatnot, right? So that's a season.
Yeah.
I wasn't really focused on monetizing. I wasn't really focused on. I didn't even know where it was gonna go. I just knew it was my planting season.
Yeah. The creation mode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something really, really, really cool happened, and I've never been like with most of the stuff that I do with coaching students and whatnot. It's either on a one-to-one, very private setting, or digital, right, online, where we jump into small group Zoom calls and stuff like that. But I've never really pushed the meetup model or in person trainings where I'm hosting or doing any of that stuff. However, it's one of those things that because of all the building, right, the seeds started to sprout.
Yeah.
And the season changed. Now it's time to harvest. A couple of opportunities when something really cool happened, and this is different for me. I had the bright idea of putting a meetup together last week. I put out the message on Sunday. By Wednesday, we had a room, 50 to 60 people in a room, and it goes to show, it goes to show, right, that planting season is definitely worth it. A lot of times you don't feel like the strides are being made.
Yeah.
Especially as entrepreneurs, when we're like, man, I'm doing all this fucking work,
Totally.
and it's not paying out.
Yeah, it's not coming to fruition.
Yeah, it's a season.
It is, and that's the thing for people to realize is that, like, listen, when you get an idea and you're inspired to go create something, a new business, something like that, like most entrepreneurs go in it and they're like guns blazing, like grind mode, and they expect to go out there and get all the fruits. Like, no, bitch. Did you prepare the soil? Did you plant some seeds?
Yeah.
And not only did you plant seeds,
Now,
but
it's important to understand too that when you're launching something, if you're starting something that you've never been a part of, and it's just new to you, you're gonna start in winter.
yeah, because what the fuck do you know yet? You
You're
have
gonna
no
start in winter,
experience, right? And so even if you're starting in winter, right, and you're cleaning some things up, you're getting things ready energetically to move forward. Like when you're planting seeds, you got to plant 3 seeds in every little hole, right?
Yeah.
One for the birds, one that could be dead, and one to actually reap the harvest.
Yeah.
And as you plant that seed, like you don't go out the next day and be like, "Bitch, where's my fruit?" You know what I mean? Like, you gotta,
You got to
it's
give it
got-
time to
You
harvest.
got to give it time. And so, are you paying attention? Are you diligent? Are you still in motion, in action, in taking care of those seeds that you planted and moving the needle forward to creating desired results? And it takes time.
Yeah.
And so, the real key is how are you being with yourself and the time it takes for those seeds to start sprouting and blossoming and coming to the point where they can bear that fruit.
Yeah.
Or are you just getting to frustration that I don't have the results and the results in the expected time frame that I had? But again, what the hell do you know? Especially if it's a brand new business that you have no experience with.
Yeah.
Like you're starting off in a winter. You don't know what you're doing. You're taking one step at a
100%.
time. Allow it to unfold. So
Yeah.
can you be patient with yourself and patient with the process and let it happen?
Yeah, yeah. And given enough time to work, right? Everything takes, and it's a cliche, right? But everything really does take time. When it doesn't seem like it's working, when you feel like you're just kind of spinning your wheels, there's always something that's being added to raise you, right? There's always something that's being added to that foundation, to that next step that's raising you as an individual. Now I want to address the elephant in the room, right? So we start in winter, and then we go through spring, summer, and then fall. Fall, maybe you're stuck in and these are analogies, of course, right?
Yeah.
But maybe you're stuck in you're having progress, you reap the results, and then you plateau in something. Does it mean that you're always gonna decay back to fall and winter? It's not what we're saying. All right. Whenever you get back into that state of winter, it's seasons, right? And it's really coming from a mindset standpoint. Sometimes we're not gonna have the personal energy or the personal drive to want to continue with things, right? Maybe your motivation is not completely there for whatever reason. Understand that you might be, going through a fall season, and if you have, that kicking in, just be aware of it and figure out what brings you back to that state of fruition, to that state of wanting to plant seeds again, letting them grow, right? Yeah. A lot of times, if you hit winter, it's because you're evolving, you're growing into something bigger, better, and the challenges are just different. It's going through seasons and scaling up, yeah.
Yeah, so in addition to that, point two, Raf, is like, the good thing about when you start off in winter and you go through spring, summer, fall, and you find yourself back in winter, a lot of people get depressed. They beat themselves up. It's like, no. You're missing the fucking opportunity here.
Yeah.
The opportunity is if you're in a winter and it's a season that's come over you, take advantage of that. Here's how you grow through the winter. You notice, you become aware, there's a shift that's happened. Energetically, I'm a little disconnected. Whatever the case is that you think is bad, that you're labeling.
And you, you're not going to bullshit yourself, right? You know when you're feeling off.
Yes.
Sometimes, get up, go to work. If you're still on a 9 to 5, you know that okay, I'm feeling off. It's extra off. If you're a business owner, it's the same damn thing, right? Sometimes we just don't wake up with the I don't know, we may be tired or, I don't know, deficiency in what we're eating. Maybe we drank too much the night before. Now, the problem is when that persists. If you stay in that cycle and you understand, whenever you're feeling a little off, your energy is low, it's a red flag, right? It's a sign for awareness. Okay,
it's a cue. It's a trigger.
Cue, exactly.
Yeah.
Come back to your space, right? You just see it as what it is. It's not a failure. It's not okay, I'm gonna stay down and then beaten. It's okay, I gotta get my shit together because my body's obviously telling me something. My energy's obviously telling me something.
Feedback.
Yeah, it's feedback.
And so
use it.
You're right. So how I've grown through this last winter is, okay, since I'm in a winter season, it's a cooling off. Yes? And if it's cooling off and my energy's low and I'm not as conscious and so forth, great, wonderful. The opportunity is I get to sit with myself more often now this winter and reflect. What worked in the last seasons? Yeah. What didn't work? Where do I really want to go? Let me redefine that point B. And let me reconnect with my why. Maybe that's changed. Maybe it's elevated, right? So it's a time to also reinvent, maybe pivot. Yeah. You know what I mean? Course correct, refine, and elevate.
Get excited about stuff.
You don't do that during the hustle season. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So like each season has a utilitarian purpose. And if you're aware, you can take advantage of those things and grow through each season, no matter what the external results are. Yeah. And if you take that level of awareness into those seasons, like you get to notice, where am I still paying attention to utilizing my 5 senses to gauge my results?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like people want to look at the results through the 5 senses, what I can see, smell, hear, taste, touch. And it's like, those are just your 5 senses. That's just how you interpret your reality. That doesn't mean that's what's actually still going on. I mean, the quantum and all of that. Do you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, so just notice that people want to use their five senses as some kind of accurate gauge of their reality. It's like, no, wrong. Those help you just interpret things.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like interpretation is key, right? And it's gonna be based on how you're feeling emotionally.
Yeah.
For example,
So
what I'm-
subjective.
yeah, exactly.
It's
Subjective.
not absolute truth.
When what I mean by that is I mean, use the example of you hitting your toe in the morning, or your pinky toe in the morning, because that hurts more. I don't know what it is, but it's like I can hit my toe and survive, but if I hit my pinky toe,
It's game over.
game over. I am fucking dead. Whatever I had going on that day, like it's out the window, down the toilet. A dog ate it. I mean, worst case scenario, right?
Burn it down.
Yeah, exactly. It just it's a trigger. Now your emotional state is there, so anything that comes at you, going forward, is going to be interpreted under that set of
That lens.
glasses.
Yes, exactly.
So be aware, right, of the seasons as they're coming in. Everything. I mean, you're gonna harvest. You're gonna. You have to plant, and then you have to, have some time also to figure out what the hell you're gonna plant. There's seasons for all that stuff. What I see right now is it's a rush. It's a rush of wanting to get shit done, and I can't empathize with that enough because I feel that way every single day. Right, full transparency. I like whatever I'm doing right now. I feel like it should have been done like 10 years ago.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's just, I have so many, like even students come at me and like, no, I'm so far behind the curve. I was like, no, bro, you're not. And I'm giving them that checkpoint, and I have to be aware that sometimes that's my checkpoint. Like, no, we're on the right track. When you rush things, usually things get, messed up in the process, right?
Haste makes waste.
But again, it comes down to the timing. You may get opportunities or, the opportunity of a lifetime, right? I mean, which in my opinion, I think comes by once a week.
Totally.
You just have to be in that space. You have to be in that state of mind to even recognize it, number one.
See it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number two, be prepared for it, where you can actually take advantage of it and then do a good job. And then three, just enjoy it, man. Let it just fulfill itself. Before we start, we were grabbing coffee here in the kitchen, and you made the comment. We're talking about your new business venture, which is really fucking cool, right? You creating these like this ecosystem that's
Absolutely.
happening.
Symbiotic ecosystem, man.
Yeah, and I mean it's a beautiful thing to see, right? But your comment was, I'm done creating through doing.
Yeah.
I'm creating through being, right? Through being, and then just being that fuel, being that light, being that fire behind the machine, which is totally doable. And if you're an entrepreneur that's just jumping into this space, unless you've been reading metaphysics and quantum laws for years, it's gonna be like a strange subject, and maybe something even out there like woo-wooish,
Yeah.
to kind of like woke to kind of grasp or adopt. But it's something that's totally doable, right? You get to a point, you go through all the seasons, and then you get to a point of, and you're still gonna have winters, man. We're gonna have emotional
Totally.
winters.
Yeah.
Again, we're gonna have emotional, springs and summers and falls and whatever. But you get through this space where you understand the bigger picture and it clicks. The transition between seasons. I mean, I'm telling you, bro, I can almost pinpoint it. At this point in my life, I'm telling you, I can almost pinpoint the days when the transitions happen.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool, it's a change of season.
And here's why this is so important.
And embrace it, right?
Yeah, this is why
Embrace
it's
it.
important to have the awareness that the seasons are shifting, embrace it so that you can grow through it, so that you can utilize the opportunity of each season instead of suffering the whole time. So here's just a small example. So as I said, when we were getting coffee, I flew over to California to meet with my buddy to start this venture, right?
Yeah.
And I've known this guy for like 7 years, and he's a high producer at a high level, both in real estate and lending. And he's like, man, Justin, like I see all your growth the last 4 years and it's incredible. Like the exponential growth is just unreasonable. How did you do that? And I said, bro, you got to stop doing it all.
Yeah.
And like at first it like hit him with a ton of bricks. He's like, and it didn't compute. It almost bounced off. He's like, what do you mean? And he said that. What do you mean? I'm like, bro, you're the chef, the bottle washer, the hostess, the CPA. Like you're doing it all and you're spread so thin, which means you're in go and hustle mode every day, all year. And that only leads to burnout.
Yeah.
And you're capped on what you can produce because there's only one of you producing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I can't even imagine how many things are falling through the crack in your businesses. He's like, oh my God, how'd you know that? It's like, because I've been there, dude.
Yeah.
Right? And so noticing the seasons and knowing when to slow down, knowing when to sit with self and refine and readdress and reevaluate where you're at and where you're going and why you're going there.
Yeah.
And then, okay, now who can do this for me? I don't even like fucking doing that.
Yeah.
So who's really good at that and loves doing that? Because I hate it. So let me delegate that stuff so I stay in my role, which is X, Y, and Z, whatever it is for you. You know what I mean? It's highly subjective. Everyone's gifts and talents are different.
Yeah.
But by you staying in your lane, in your strengths, and doubling down on that, you're going to be more aware to delegate those things. And then all you got to do is work with you and your role through your seasons. Because everything else is getting handled, right? So that you have the opportunity to be with you. If you're the one doing it all, you've got to be on all the time. And then you got to like grind and muster a tremendous amount of willpower and energy and attention during your winters. And it's like, so let me ask you, if you're in that mode, season after season after season after season, year after year after year, how efficient and effective are you really?
Well, I mean, it's a rhetorical question, right? I mean, it's not gonna be much, but also I think you're not giving yourself the opportunity to change seasons. Getting to the point where I felt comfortable or I felt okay, not even comfortable because I'm kind of like squeamish about it still. When I delegate stuff, when I automate stuff, when I don't know, put something out there that I don't have full control of it, it makes me feel like, all right, cool, I'm gonna. For the first couple of weeks, I'm always kind of like like peaking, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to say micromanaging, but micromanaging.
Well, you got to inspect what you expect, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So but getting even to that point where I was able to release some of that control, some of that, need to just oversee everything and do everything myself was a season. Like that was a change. That was a shift that happened in me, at an emotional level. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you look at it from a pragmatic standpoint and you understand logically, right? That you have accounting going on, you have checks and balances here, you have KPIs, you got to keep performance up and production through, through the roof or at least, at par.
Yeah.
And there's so many different things going on in businesses now, not to mention the human capital side of things. You're having issues with employees, you're hiring, you're onboarding, you're firing, you're doing all kinds of shit, right? It's hard to manage all those plates
if you're doing it all.
If you're doing it all at the same time.
Yeah.
However, I think for me, one of the things was I spent a lot of time in that particular season. Hence, I burned out.
Yeah.
I got burned out, and and understanding or giving myself the opportunity to switch from that winter season when I was trying to plant seeds in the middle of the snow and then trying to harvest, the day after and then managing everything else, to moving to a place, okay, cool, I'm going to have, tap into the talents of the team, tap into the company that I want to build, right? And then step back and then look at that, the overall picture of where I wanted to go and really have that clarity and vision. That was a shift. That was a complete shift in my seasons. Now, it's easy to see it on a whiteboard, okay?
Yeah, it looks good on paper.
You slap it on the wall and you wake up in the morning, you're sipping your little coffee there, and then you're drawing with your red marker and like, oh, that looks amazing. $100,000 here. I don't know, $500,000 there. And the plan just looks miraculously elegant.
Beautiful.
Right?
Yeah.
And but like one of the quotes that I heard I don't know, a couple of days ago was from a friend of mine. It was like, yeah, I mean, when the tide goes down, like you really find out who's swimming naked.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Exactly. And I think it's what that goes back to is lacking the you're not giving yourself the opportunity to switch seasons, right? So everything looks great. Now adopting it, when you adopt it and it feels right, okay, cool. I know logically that this is what I got to do. That's one thing. But when you feel right about, for example, delegating or moving on to that next step, it's just everything has a different taste to it.
It does.
When it's got a different taste to it, that's when you that's your indicator, right? that's
Yep.
your cue that you're changing seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's the thing. It was like, so just to let the cat out of the bag. It's a mortgage business, and again, energetically, it didn't quite align because I was in my winter, and I responsibly communicated that.
Yeah.
Yet when I started shifting out of that winter and it was coming to spring, the phone call came in, the opportunity came in. I'm like, it's time. I'm ready to go. Like, let's kick this
Yeah.
on. And so in talking with David, when I was in California discussing all this, I just told him, man, the way that I'm successful, because he asked, like, how did you become so successful? I said, I'm intelligently lazy. And the thing is, like, and we were just talking over coffee, like, I'm done with production. I'm done into doing this and having to produce deals, because that's not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's owning a job. Because if you're not cranking the machine, spitting out the leads, you got no sales. You got no sales, you got no business, right?
Yeah.
And so intelligently lazy means, again, what am I really good at? What is my role? What is my one thing that I do? And I do it so well that I love doing it. So jumping out of bed in the morning because I'm excited that I get to go do that thing, like everything else is delegated. Okay, so starting a new business, what's my role? Everything else is delegated. And so when I was showing you those different businesses and how this is a financial symbiotic ecosystem, I'm not doing any in these businesses. I'm quarterbacking, I'm inspecting, I'm holding people accountable. I'm doing the coaching aspect of it to make sure everything's running smooth. But I'm not in there doing real estate deals. I'm not in there doing mortgages. I'm not in there and doing those things to generate the business. Somebody else is, right? So intelligently lazy is, how can I create a business that's an asset that I don't have to work every day? But there's other people that would want to do these roles, and they're really good at it. So let them do their thing.
You're creating opportunity and you're empowering, right?
Totally.
That's another shift in season.
Yeah, I mean, who makes the most amount of money? The employee of the business or the owner of it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So so the key is intelligently, how do I exit from being the employee to owning it and operating it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then it's probably going to be a tangent, but I don't care. So now when we're talking
Do what
about
you
that,
want.
right? Like I had the conversation, like, no, I don't want to make that person money, from the standpoint of when you're an employee, and the owner by all means should be taking the lion's share, right? Because there's a lot of work that has been put into building that vehicle.
Risk and liability.
Risk, liability, work, just intention behind it, personal growth. So it's not okay. Like for example, one question that I or one thing that I get all the time is like, Rafa, you don't do anything. Like you're just recording videos. Like, yeah, maybe I am, but that's my way of working now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it took me a while to build 4 fucking companies, and
Totally.
to a point where they're all profitable and they're all humming,
have the
right?
time to do videos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, now it's just videos and stuff like this, like podcasts and empowerment and putting good stuff out there for entrepreneurship, right? It's my purpose, and that really weaves into the overall model of everything that I do. But when you look at percentages and who takes the lion's share of things, at this point, I started when I was 21, right? At this point, it's 18 years of work, of not really just betting on myself as an entrepreneur, risk and all that stuff, right? So and not that I want to paint a picture of where I'm at, but I want to highlight the fact that whenever you have a business owner making the most, or business owner saying that I got to make the most, is because all those years behind them are
hours.
merit to that point, right?
Absolutely.
Of creating that vehicle. So
and if an employee is bitching about how much the owner's making, stop being such a victim and go create your own then.
Yeah, go create your own business. I think one of the and this is the one I think we're going to record in the next one. It's going to be understanding self-value, self-worth.
I love it.
So anyways, I told you it was going to be a tangent, but I had it on my mind this morning. So anyways,
They don't know if you're off the agenda.
Yeah.
That's 'cause we don't
Exactly.
have one.
Actually, no, we're on the agenda right now.
This is it.
We're reading this whole thing from a prompter.
Yeah, right.
No, but
That'd be weird.
I mean, moral of the story, right? Understand when you're coming to a seasonal shift or seasonal change. If you're in that space where you're changing from one season to the other and it feels right, that's going to be your cue, right?
Yeah.
It's not a matter of pragmatics. It's not a matter of logical insight. It's really when the seasons hit you, when that change hits you, it's gonna feel different.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel right about making certain decisions, right? So three things that I want to just kind of put out there to help you deal or manage, those shifts in seasons better. The first one, these are things that work for me, right? First thing, if I'm feeling my energy is a little off, even though I want to push through it sometimes, I'll disconnect, even if it's for a day. Right. So number one is disconnect. Step back from it. Give yourself time to breathe. I was swamped with something that I was working on yesterday, and I really wanted to push through midnight. It was like, no, like at this point, like I got to disconnect. I got to let it just sink in my brain, sink in my emotional field and whatnot. Right. So disconnect. The second one, understand that if you're in a winter season, it's not permanent, right? If you're in a skyrocketing season where everything's just, going, it's going through the roof right now, that's beautiful and it's amazing. And don't be afraid, because that sometimes, like, the thought of, okay, this is not sustainable. If you're a smart person, you're going to contemplate that. But it's not, even that is not, it's not permanent. The downhills are not permanent. Everything that we do has an element of impermanence to it.
Yeah, there's a cycle.
Right. And then when you do hit a wall, when you feel like you're stuck and you're digging yourself a hole, think about rebirth. It's an opportunity to rebirth whatever you're working on.
Absolutely.
Just come out
you
better
must
on the other
die
side.
to be reborn, right?
Yeah.
That's the beautiful part about winter.
Bro, we live in Phoenix.
Right?
Isn't that the
It's
definition?
So damn hot.
Isn't
Hell.
that the definition
Yeah.
of Phoenix?
So, and with your 3 points there for those key indicators, like the most valuable thing that I've been able to utilize to support me through those seasons and grow is when you notice that shift of a season coming on, instead of sitting there and going, okay, so what should I do in this season? No, wrong question. Because if you ask yourself, what should I be doing? The answer you're going to get is going to come from your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
Which means it's going to come from a memory of the past, and it's going to keep you safe and comfortable and predictable. So instead, sit down in some meditation, in some quiet times, like you said, disconnect, right?
Reflection, yeah.
Create some disconnect so you can reflect. And you can sit down and ask, what is the lesson for me to learn in the last season I just went through? And what's going to be the lesson moving forward? You plant that seed in your awareness and allow a higher power to come through to show you those gifts and give you those golden nuggets and to gain more experience. And with experience comes confidence. Now you can confidently go into the next season with more grace and patience with yourself to allow the situation, to allow reality to unfold for your benefit, for the highest and best results to come through. Instead of always identifying with a mind of what is there here for me to get, and how am I going to get more of it, and how do I avoid what I don't want? Like, you're just creating more struggle and hell.
Yeah.
So
I love it, man. I love it. Justin, I think that's, changing through the seasons, it's a very, very important topic, especially to understand how to mitigate some of that turbulence that we get emotionally, right, as we're going through the highs and the lows, and not to be, coming from a completely woke, standpoint, but it's really important to understand, right, as a psychological principle. It's important to understand how you operate. It's important to understand where you're at, to have that higher degree of clarity over the stuff that you're doing.
Well, you can work with yourself with that information.
And I mean, anytime, I don't know, I see it this way, right? If we're looking at a map, how many times have you been at the mall? I went to Fashion Square Mall in Scottsdale for the first time. 3 stories or 4. I don't know. It's
huge.
It's huge, stupid. But it's complicated. To me, it's a fucking complicated mall, right? It's got a lot of steps and then little stairs where there's not supposed to be stairs, and it's not stroller friendly. It's just weird. But anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm looking at all the stores and just the madness going around me and everything. I was like, I'm gonna look at the map. All right. So I look at the map of the mall, and then you have the levels and all that stuff. And I'm looking at the map and I was like, I still don't know where the fuck I am. I know the map, right? But up until the point where I saw that you are here.
Point A.
Yeah, you are here. That little pin right there. You are here. Okay. Oh, okay. Now it all makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So understand the seasons. The seasons are your map, right?
Well, and with any map, it doesn't matter where point B is. You won't know how to get there unless you know where you are. Point A, you are here.
Exactly.
And understanding you are here is the acceptance and awareness of what season you're in.
Exactly. And knowing where you're at, right? okay, cool, I am here. Now you have an idea of what's coming, wherever you head, right? Now you know that the food court is that way. You know that progress
Of
as
course
an
you were looking for
opportunity.
the food court.
Yeah, of course. in the protein shop. Yeah. So the food court is over there, right? Or progress is over there, or opportunity is over there. Why? Because you are here. You know where you're at, and you know what your map looks like. So, I love it, man. Justin, always golden nuggets and bombs of knowledge. Believe it or not, you're a very smart individual. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I love you, bro.
Love you too, man.
Where can somebody find you?
Yeah, justinthorstad.com. My cell phone, 602-348-8534. A lot of people mess up the Thorstad part, but it's just like it sounds. Thorstad. Thorstad.
Why do you have to throw in like a Marvel reference, like you're a superhero, like Thor?
Don't be jelly, man.
And
Hey,
no. I noticed that like your sub Q was like Thor stat.
well, a lot of people.
So you said it
misspell
like
so they
deep,
can't find
so
the
people
website.
recognize the Thor, like God.
Do you think so? Maybe it was a
Yeah.
Freudian slip or something.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's your alter ego kicking in, but whatever. I'm telling you, bro, you're gonna get some collateral damage from putting out that number.
Hey,
here
it
pretty
hasn't
soon.
happened yet. And don't threaten me with a good time.
All right. I love it. People, do us a favor. You like what you're watching, what we're putting out there for you on the CEO Pulse podcast and on the Mindset Monday series. Do us a favor and subscribe, like, and share, all right? Help us spread the word. Whenever you do that, the algorithm picks it up and it just helps us reach a lot more people. So with that being said, we're going to call it, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Stay focused. You got this. Boom.